Okay, so we'll start by talking about price premiums and the strategies that will allow a company to increase return and thus increase value by trying to implement a price premium. And again, this is not, of course, it's not just as simple as saying, hey, we're going to charge more money, because, of course, basic economics will tell us that will not work. If you raise prices, you will reduce demand. Your customers will your competitors will snap up all your customers. And unless there is some mechanism, some reason why you can charge more money, you're not going to be successful in the long run. Okay? So we want to raise prices. We want to be able to charge more than our competitors, but there has to be a reason. So one of the ways that we might be able to introduce a price premium, say we're a management team, we're trying to look for ways to create value. We're going to look at these 5 strategies with our consultants, with our designers, with our management team, and say, can we change our products and take advantage of one of the following strategies so that we will eventually be able to charge a price premium and increase our return on invested capital? Okay, now, we're going to go through the strategies in terms of both the most valuable and the most effective, right? Which means the most sustainable. But that also typically means that they're more difficult to implement. So the ranking here is most valuable, but also hardest to implement. Okay, and value is a function of the value that's created, because this is a really good deal, but also the price premium that allows you to charge, but also how sustainable that price premium is. Okay, so we'll start with number 1. And the most valuable thing you can do, the best thing you can do to create value and charge a price premium, is to create a totally new product by innovating your way into a new space. Right? So innovative goods, something that's brand new, it allows you to essentially charge whatever you want because you don't have any competitors. So you are able to generate high returns to invested capital because there isn't anybody else out there who's competing with you. Right? Now, of course, this is relatively sustainable as long as it is not an easy thing to copy, an easy thing to generate. But certainly for the time being, during the period during which you have this unique opportunity, you're the only one selling it, you can charge quite a price premium. Right? Now, the difficulty, of course, is that it is not easy to just come up with a unique product. Right? I would encourage you to think about, it's sort of hard to even think about how difficult it would be to make something completely new, right? Maybe there isn't really anything completely new under the sun, right? Something has always come before. There's always some idea that's pushing us forward into some maybe just iteration or some slight improvement on an older product. But that's not what a unique product is saying, right? A unique product, and pharmaceutical companies are an easy one here because they are often in the business of generating a totally unique drug, something that no one's ever made before, that fixes a problem that we've had for a long time that we've never been able to address. Right? And because of the difficulty and the cost of creating those kinds of products, they are allowed to patent those products, and then they enjoy 20 years of sustainable price premiums on that product, right? So some of the most successful, unique products are pharmaceuticals, are drugs, right? But there are other successful new, unique products. And for instance, the Ipod is one of them, right? And the Ipod was revolutionary, right? But before the Ipod, I was riding around with a Walkman, and I finally got a portable CD player that would skip every time you hit a bump or walked weird, and you could only carry around so many CDs or so many tapes, and that was it. If you wanted to listen to music on the go, that was your only option, right? And then the iPod came out, and even the original iPod, you could store a couple hundred songs from different people. It didn't skip. It worked all the time. It had a huge charge. You could listen to music for hours. It looked cool. It had the little spinny dial wheel, and there were no buttons or other kinds of controls on it. It was completely unique, and it took the world by storm. And realistically, it was incredibly easy to copy in the sense that you could, once that product was out there, competitors could find a way to offer a similar product relatively quickly. So Microsoft came out with the Zune. And there were a handful of others. There was a Sony Walkman, a digital Walkman. There was a handful of others that came out to compete with the iPhone. So, I mean, the iPod. So this wouldn't have been something that you thought would be very sustainable. Only the iPod's success and the price premium that they charged was sustainable. They were able to sell iPods and sell them at high prices for a long, long time, 10 years, right? And in the technology space, that's a huge sustainability, that's huge sustainability. In other words, there were other things that appealed to people in terms of the iPod other than just the functionality, the cool factor and the design and the functionality, and just that it worked really well all the time. So that was a unique product. It allowed Apple to charge really high price premiums, like 30, 40% on the original iPod over costs. And they actually maintained charging those for a long time. Right? And they have continued to innovate, right? Often we find that innovative companies tend to sort of stake their business on continuing to innovate and try to provide unique products that people didn't know they needed, more or less. So think about it. If you can think of any more unique products, I'm always interested in hearing more examples of things that you think are unique and companies that have been successful in creating unique products. But I would, this is not something that you can just necessarily walk in as a consultant to a management team and be like, listen, the way to save your business is just to make a unique product. Sit 5 engineers in a room for 2 weeks, don't let them out, give them coffee and food, and hopefully they come out with something that's going to be awesome, because that's just not the way it works, right? Unique products don't just grow on trees. They come out of thought, and sometimes they come out of a eureka moment, and sometimes there's nothing we can do about it. So while this is probably the best way to charge a price premium and the best way to create value, it's also the hardest one to do, right? Now the next one, right? So if the gold medal goes to unique products, then the silver medal goes to quality products. And this is a strategy that's actually relatively implementable, right? This is something that we could, as consultants, say to the management team. Listen, if you really want to charge a higher premium, then you've got to find a way to distinguish your product. And one of the ways to distinguish your product is to make sure that that product is high quality. People will pay more for higher quality goods. Not all people, but if you can find the right intersection between price and demand based on quality, you can increase your value for this firm. Right? And this is incredibly successful. And of course, I'm sure that you can all think of things that you might pay for because you either they either are better quality, or you might be a little more cynical and think about some things that people still pay more for because they perceive that they're higher quality, even though they aren't necessarily higher quality now, right? And to me, one of these examples is BMW. This was, originally marketed as, German engineering, really high quality, never breaks down, will run forever, right? And I don't think that BMWs today still enjoy that same actual level of quality, but they do still have the same perceived level of quality. Whereas the flip side, staying within the car industry, is that Toyota also made its name on quality, right? Toyota is the originator of, those of you that have maybe taken some operations classes, they're the originator of the Six Sigma quality process, where they try to make sure that there are no defects in the products they make, all the way up to the 99.99% level. So only 0.01% of the things they make might have a defect. So they made their name on quality, and they made it at a time when American cars, which were their dominant rival, were actually sort of given up on quality, and they were just producing anything willy-nilly. And the reputation of American cars started to fall apart, while the reputation of Japanese-made cars gained steady ground, and they were able to charge a high premium because their cars didn't break, so you didn't have to constantly fix them. And that is, I don't think, a quality that's gone away largely, although it has taken some hits in the recent past. And they are still able to charge a premium relative to lots of American-made cars because people assume that Toyota cars, Toyota, Honda, Japanese-made cars are all of high quality, right? So there is a difference between perceived and real, but actually both of them are going to allow you to create to charge a price premium, right? And there's lots of other examples of quality allowing you to charge a high premium, and I'm sure you can think of some, right? For instance, another good example is, say, airlines, right? Everyone in an airplane is essentially getting the same product. We are getting to travel from point A to point B. But the people up at the front in the first class seats are enjoying a much higher quality experience in big lazy boy recliners with real glassware and whatever kind of drinks they want. And when they get food service, they get ice cream sundaes and they get real silverware, and it's not just some microwave pack, right? They enjoy a level of service and a level of quality that exceeds the ones in the back. And because of that, they pay 5-10 times as much money to enjoy that, right? So there are people that are willing to pay for the quality and people that aren't. And that distinction is a way to charge a significant price premium, right? So there's lots of other examples of quality. I'm sure you can think of things that you might buy that have high quality. Here's a great quote that from a book series I love by an author named Terry Pratchett. He was a satirist, a British satirist, and he's talking about the effect of quality and that one of the downsides of quality is that it can cause some social inequality, right? So he's talking about boots, and he's saying that if you can buy really high quality boots that will last you forever, right, then you'll spend more money up front, but you won't ever have to fix your boots. You won't ever have to repair them. They'll last for 10 years. But if you buy really crappy boots and you'll spend less money up front, but you'll have to repair them and replace them every year. And so over the same 10-year period, you might have to buy 10 pairs of boots for $10 when the person who bought the really high quality pair only paid $50 and they lasted the same amount of time, right? So that people who are able to afford higher quality goods are usually the ones that are in a position to enjoy some social inequality.